everybody. Welcome to ABA Inside Track, the podcast that's like reading in your car, but safer. I'm your host, Robert Perry Cruz. And what's coming up? Oh, it's a new year. And in this new year are my fabulous co-hosts.
It's me, Jackie. Happy 2024.
And it's me, Diana. Hello.
Yes, we're here on our podcast about behavior analysis and behavior analytic research, where every week we pick a topic and discuss relevant research articles. Except for this week, because it's the beginning of the month if you're listening on the free feed, or the end of the month if you're listening on our Patreon feed, where we instead preview what's to come in this January 2024. It's a long month after hopefully everyone had a fun holiday season.
It's a long January. Even though it's December, but
It's a long December, right?
Yeah, January doesn't work as well.
No. January.
It's a little too many syllables.
And there's too many syllables in that word.
And in our preview, we'll be talking about all of the articles that will be discussed if you like to read ahead or at least know what episodes will be coming out, as well as some other errata pieces where we talk about other things. So why don't we get started with the first of those activities, which is what's coming out this month. Diana, we got 4 episodes.
All right. So yeah, January is a long month in that there are 5 Wednesdays in this particular January. So that means that we'll have 4 full-length episodes. And we have quite a range of things that we're going to talk about. So our first episode for January is going to be about fad treatments, and very exciting, special New Year's gift to all of you listeners. This is actually an ethics episode. Yeah, I know. Ethics are always good. So
I didn't get a soundboard for Christmas, by the way, if anyone was wondering. So we still have to do our own sound effects for another year.
Interesting. Okay, so for the Ethics of Fad Treatments episode, we have 3 articles to review. The Cost of Fad Treatments in Autism by Zane, Davis, and Rossworm, and that was published in the Journal of Early and Intensive Behavioral Intervention sometime around the year 2010. Next, How to Behave Ethically in a World of Fads, that's by Schreck and Miller. That was published in Behavioral Interventions, 2010. And finally, Sensory Integration as a Treatment for Automatically Maintained Stereotypy by Moore, Cividini-Mota, Clark, and Ahern, and that was also in Behavioral Interventions, 2015. So that's pretty exciting. That was our number 1 episode for January.
And that was a listener-requested episode.
I think
yeah. I mean, it's always a good topic to
we were
discuss.
talking about maybe doing fad treatments and like what our angle is. I like the one we picked, though. Disclosure, we recorded that one already.
That one already happened.
But I liked our angle on that one. So listeners, if you think we're just going to be like, fad treatments are dumb and you're a dum-dum if you like them, then we're not. We're going to be really professional.
Yeah, you forgot I'm woo-woo. That's what it's called now.
What is that?
Woo-woo. You like holistic things.
That's the phrase?
Yes,
woo-woo.
it
It is.
When did that become the phrase?
Recently. Maybe not, but...
Not really recently.
There's some movie where someone goes, look, it's Mr. Woo Woo, but I think it's talking about like a womanizer character. So when I hear that, I think
I could be both.
Rob
like
only
pitching
movies
woo.
from the 1930s.
I could be a womanizer and holistic.
Oh, Jack, woo 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 woo.
Okay. All right. And then after that, it turns out it's time for grab bag, which are now arbitrarily determined when they will appear. But this one happens to be happening this month. For this particular grab bag, we were joined by book club guy Alan Haberman, so you get to hear from him as well. And so that means that there are 4 articles that, again, were arbitrarily chosen for grab bag. And those included Classroom Management Strategies. Are they setting events for coercion? That was by Shores, Gunter, and Jack. Published in Behavioral Disorders, 1993, taking it way back. The development of a participatory tool to enable autistic people to influence the interior design of their homes. That's by Sheehan. It was published in Good Autism Practice, 2022. Prompting and Modeling of Coping Strategies During Childbirth. That was by Greenwald, published in Behavior Analysis and Practice, 2023.
Hot off the press.
Yeah. And then finally, in his own words, Siegfried Zig Engelman talks about what's wrong with education and how to fix it. By Heward, Kimball, Heckerman, and Dunn, published in Behavior Analysis and Practice, 2021. This episode also features a theatrical performance by the four of us, written by Rob. So please tune in to catch that part.
He was so proud of it that he even told my husband about it.
It was really good.
It was pretty great.
It was actually really
good.
I didn't get any of the references, but I played along really well.
All right. And then after that, we have an episode planned in which we discuss how to establish and review curriculum for adults with disabilities. And we will be joined by Dr. John Guercio for that one. So we have several articles related here. One is exploring the clinical utility of a stimulus avoidance assessment to enhance a relaxation training model by Wilson, Casson, Gratz, and Guercio. That was published in Behavior Analysis and Practice 2015. Increasing functional rehabilitation and acquired brain injury treatment, effective applications of behavioral principles by Guercio, Davis, Faw, McMorrow, Ori, Berkowitz, and Nigra. That was published in Brain Injury 2002. Oh. 2002.
That's old.
It is an old one. Then, improving the quality of staff and participant interaction in an acquired brain injury organization by Guercio and Dixon. And that was published in the Journal of Organizational Behavior Management in 2010.
Also old.
2010?
Yeah, 2010s.
I guess it is pretty old.
I love that meme that Diana put on the ABA Inside Track thing when the student emails and says, I want to use this article from the 1900s.
Oh my gosh.
It's like...
It said the late 20th century, I think is what it said.
And it was like 1998 or something.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, finally, the use of computer activity schedules to increase initiation of and engagement in domestic and leisure activities in an adult with acquired brain injury. This one was published by Soldner, Rayfeld, Guercio, and Dillon. We might recognize that name because James Soldner was on episode 54.
Yes.
Yeah, way back.
I did.
Okay. That was in the European Journal of Behavior Analysis 2005.
He's my buddy.
He's all our buddies now.
Mm-hmm.
All our buddies.
He's my buddy first.
That's fair. Okay. And then finally, to round out January, we have an episode with the three of us in which we discuss error correction. We're going to discuss a lot of things in that episode and a lot of articles. And those include comparing error correction to errorless learning, a randomized clinical trial by Leaf, Sehan, Ferguson, Milne, Leaf, and McEachen. And that was published in the Analysis of Verbal Behavior 2020. A comparison of error correction procedures on skill acquisition during discrete trial instruction by Carroll, Joachim, St. Peter, and Robinson. That was in JABA 2015. A review of error correction procedures during instruction for children with developmental disabilities by Caravo, Cruz, Montilla, Gonzalez, and Ball. And that was also in JABA 2019. And finally, using an abbreviated assessment to identify effective error correction procedures for individual learners during discrete trial instruction by Carroll, Oceani, and Cheatham. And that was also in JABA 2018.
Error correction is just one of those topics that I always think, well, there's got to be so much literature on it. And full disclosure, in getting ready for that episode, I think the articles we discussed referred to maybe 2 or 3 other articles that we did not cover. But if we'd covered those, that would have been almost the entire body of error correction research made in the last 10 or 15 years. It's just one of those sort of everyone knows it, don't worry about researching it. And then a few people do, but most people sort of take it for granted is the sense I get when I comb through the literature.
Well, you can hear all about it in our episode. And that's it. That's a lot. And that's the story.
That's a lot of episodes coming out here in January. All right. Well, let's move on to the errata section of the show. This is where we talk about whatever happens to be going on in the world of ABA Inside Track. Sometimes we read some emails.
I've got an email.
Some news. You got an email?
I've got an email.
Do you want to do email first, or do you want to do some other announcements first?
I'm going to do email first.
You do email first. We're going to do email first. Here we go. Read us an email, Jackie.
I'm going to hold this.
You're going to hold your microphone. I think it's a terrible idea, but give it a try. We'll see what it sounds like.
I won't hold it then.
It'll sound like
cradle it
Russell,
like
Russell,
a...
Russell.
All right.
Cradle it like a baby.
I know. Okay, so this email was written by our listener, Adam. And he wanted to say that he likes our podcast, which is great, but he also wanted to give us feedback, which I love. So he said just an FYI about the reference to the DRA in the Direct Instruction podcast. DRA has clear components of direct instruction. Remember we were talking about like the reading?
Yeah. I was the one that brought it up as an example.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I should have checked with Adam because
I guess so.
He knows more than me.
He said DRA has clear components of direct instruction, but would not be considered direct I instruction with a capital D and a capital I. So that's there. And he said if we are interested, and when we're in the car, we should listen to a Soul to Story podcast, which Matt Chicoria told us we should listen to last year, and I still have it. Slowly getting through it. So it'd help increase our knowledge about DRA and the lack of evidence behind differential reading assessments.
I did not know.
When you say DRA, Jackie, you're talking about the DRA reading.
The DRA reading.
Okay, that took me a second. I was thinking the other DRA.
So it said that it's not evidence-based despite the great use in Massachusetts. What it was. So Massachusetts has a big movement to help schools move away from this to more a science-based literacy program. And
we did touch on.
We have seen, and we've seen that in person.
Yep, in our own children's
classrooms.
Doing it. So he said, keep up the great work. And he was really excited about this topic. And me too, because we obviously need more. We needed to learn some more. Yeah. And that was really great. So I think I brought it up too. Mm-hmm. Because I talked about the train. Remember the train comes through and the little things pop up?
But I didn't realize, so now we know.
Yeah.
It always seems so silent. Well, because it was based on a lot of fluency measures and some comprehension. But it's funny how Massachusetts, as well as it does in a lot of areas, it sort of really was very slow to move to phonics-based instruction. I think district by district, but it just seemed like one of those scientific facts that I learned back in grad school, almost in the 20th century. It was a little past the 20th century when I was finishing up grad school. But it was very clear there that the science was all for phonics-based instruction as the most efficient way to teach. And then I was always shocked at how many classrooms were like, no, whole word instruction is what we do here.
Yeah. And then someone else had written in, listener Amy, about the Scope of Comfort podcast. And they said that hit them on so many levels.
Great.
Especially the not every opportunity is your opportunity, which I keep saying to myself.
Yeah.
This whole semester. So.
And that was with Landria Seals Green.
Right. Yes. So that
was awesome.
That's been hitting me too. So when I wrote Amy back, I was like, same. Amy, same. Same. So if you haven't listened to that one, please do.
It was a cool extension of the scope of competence discussions that we've had on other episodes. We have with peers and such. So it was a nice sort of corollary, I think, to that idea. All right. Well, thank you for writing in emails. Originally, this section was all supposed to be emails of people writing us and telling us all the things we got wrong. And I don't know if that means we're doing a good job or people just aren't bothering to listen to our errors enough to write in. But it is nice to hear them.
Too,
it is nice
right?
when we hear about that.
Yeah, I'm like, thank you. I'm still learning too.
It's very nice. All right. Well, I don't think we have too many other things. We had our year in review episode come out, so we talked about a lot of things kind of coming up on the show there. So if you've not listened to our bonus episode with Matt Chicoria, you could listen to that. I guess we should probably reiterate that the four of us, so me, Jackie, Diana, and Matt, wrote a chapter in a book that should coming out sometime this month, I believe, called Disseminating Behavioral Research, and that's edited by Annette Griffith and Tyler Ray. And there's a lot of, you can find I linked it in the episode notes for the year in ABA 2023 bonus, but it has a lot of cool chapters about dissemination, how to present at conferences. And then we have a little chapter near the middle, maybe, on non-traditional options for dissemination. So we had a lot of fun writing that. So you can check that out if you are so inclined. And I guess that's all the really big news. Does anyone have any fun resolutions they want to share?
I'm going to learn how to do a handstand.
You're going to take the whole year to do that?
It is much harder than you think it is, Rob.
I'm not saying I think it's easy.
Yes, it is going to take me the whole year
to
build
up. If I said I'm going to do a handstand, I could see that taking an entire year. Jackie, you feel like you could do a handstand if you really focused, maybe a month?
No, I want to do it well. Okay. So I need to build up my arm strength, my core strength, my back strength. I got to build up my mindset. Mm-hmm. So that is my fun New Year's resolution. Handstand.
That's good. Well, you know what might help you with your mind strength, Jackie? Maybe a book club about acceptance and commitment therapy. Surprise! It's talking about fun announcements. We actually have our book club for acceptance and commitment therapy for behavior analysts by I think Dixon and Hayes and Belial. That was voted on by our patrons. So if you're a patron, you're going to get access at the $10 and up level. You're going to get access to that full book club later this month. We're going to talk about the whole book. So you should get reading.
If you want to have already read about it with us, you should get started now because it is 350 pages long.
It's 284 pages. As someone who's in the middle of it is like, how long do I have to read this book? No reviews on that, but trying to see when is this book over? I have looked at that end goal to kind of keep myself motivated to the committed action and the value of trying to finish my books as fast as possible.
That's not how long you said it was.
That's what it said on Amazon, but it is in actuality 284 pages of content. I suppose you could read the references. I would not recommend just doing that for fun, though. That's more of a checking on things. But yes, so we'll be talking about that with Alan, and that'll be like mid-January, I think the 15th or 14th. So for patrons, you'll be getting that right at the end of January. Everyone else, you won't be getting that anytime soon because it's for patrons only. So if you say, you know what, I would like to hear them discuss this new ACT book, very recent book, and I would like to get 2 CEs for listening to them talk about it, well, patreon.com/ABA Inside Track might be the place for you. And if you say, I really wanted to read The Happiness Trap, finally, well, you should have been a patron and voted for it because I thought I was going to win at one point and then it got blown. They got blown out of the water. I guess I have to read that one on my own time. Oh, well. Although now I don't want to read The Happiness Trap because having read ACT for Behavior Analysts, I don't think it's going to get any more complicated than that with The Happiness Trap. It's going to be like baby's first ACT book. I don't really need it anymore. I've moved on.
Baby's first ACT book.
I don't know if that's real.
It's got pictures in it.
That seems mean. Happiness Trap is definitely not for, it's for anyone to be able to read, whereas I would not recommend, I haven't finished the book, but I'm pretty sure the fact it's a guidebook for behavior analysts that you're not going to give that to someone who's like, I'm just having a hard time. Well, read this book. You'll be having a harder time because it's complicated. So that's coming up as well. So that's a good resolution. Jackie, Dinah, how about you? Any resolutions for the new year?
I'm planning to crochet some more animals, but so far I only know how to crochet penguins, so I'm going to branch out.
Okay. Any preview of what kind of animal it will be?
I actually want to learn how to crochet food.
Oh, that's fun. To like eat?
No, to look at.
Oh.
Like cute. People go crazy for crocheted food and mini food.
Yeah. It's a whole category. It's called
really
amigurumi. It's like, crocheting little thingies.
Nice.
How about you?
Is it a resolution? I'm trying to catch up on Doctor Who, which I stopped watching for a while. I'd like to do that.
Anything can be a resolution.
Yeah, my handstand one's not
you
really
resolve to do it.
I'd like to catch up on Doctor Who. Sadly, I tried to watch it with I tried to watch it with my whole family. The older two, including my wife, noped out of that one in about 5 seconds. And then
I don't dislike Doctor Who. I just don't want to get dragged into like the serialization of being required to watch every episode.
I see. Okay. But then my younger two were willing to watch it, but the youngest one has been having nightmares, which apparently watching Doctor Who back in the 60s, that was like the nightmare fuel of British children. They would get scared watching the show, which is hilarious because if you watch Doctor Who from the 60s, it is like, we've got £2 to build this whole set. What are we going to do?
Yeah, those are some sparse sets.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Pretty rough, but children were very scared of it. So apparently it is still true today, except with American children now, they get kind of scared. So I don't think he's going to enjoy that Doctor Who watch, but that's a goal. I have other goals too, but that's the one that is, I think, the most fun. Well,
sounds good.
We got lots of resolutions. We got lots of things coming up, so we better get back to the old podcast grindstone, getting those episodes ready for y'all. We really hope you follow us on all of the episodes coming out this month and maybe join us for our book club. Again, patreon.com/ABA Inside Track. We'll be back next week with the first of those brand new 2024 episodes. But until then, keep responding. Bye.
Bye.